plan on. And I'm like, we're going to do a kind of sheet.
Welcome to another week of Chiropractic Is Sexy. I am Dr. Paula Ruffin.
I'm Dr. Erica Peabody, and we're just talking about the other chiropractor in my office. Like, I have this vest on, and she's got the pants. That's what we're laughing at. It's just funny. It's funny how vibey we get.
And not watching, it's plaid.
Yes, it's doing a thing. Anyway, happy Thursday to everybody. We are rolling into the last third of August, which is going to be our topic of going back to school. And some of the kids started Tuesday this week. Some started yesterday, and then some start next week. And then I really can respect the districts that wait a little bit, because August in Michigan is still really magical. So yeah, I like it. Like, I don't know. Why can't we just make it Labor Day to Memorial Day and add the right minutes in between?
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Okay. I just
make it standardized at that and be done.
Yes. Yes. Well, I feel like they keep changing it, Well,
they change it by county even, and districts around too.
Yes.
What are you doing?
Where's Tio Mimo? Tio's usually on our feed. Where's he? Hi, Lily. Nice to see you.
Lewis is here today.
Best thing you can do. Hi, Lewis. The best thing you can do for back to school is, you want to tell him, Erica?
Oh, like, share, and subscribe.
Right.
Actually, you can go back to school too. You could just be with us learning every week.
And that too.
Share,
yes.
Subscribe.
Yes. So back to school, stress, kids. I'm also seeing, they're talking about getting your kids back on a consistent schedule. And of course, it's the same narrative we get anytime there's a time change where, start getting up earlier or going to bed later, whatever, like trying to adjust your sleep schedule. And I don't know, has that ever worked for anyone? I think you just got to dive back into it. No kid's going to be like, I think I'll start getting up at 6 a.m. 2 weeks before school starts. No. Why?
No, it doesn't. I mean, in theory, it seems good, but here's the other part Dr. Paula and I talk about all the time is we can't take an entire 3 months off of the year off of our routines and especially our health routines in particular. And so if you found yourself completely sideways during your summer with any of your routines, health routines, sleep well, move well, think well, eat, get your rest, get your water, get adjusted. If you've gotten so far off, I really want you to check in anyway and say, okay, that was very excessive. And if I'm making a radical shift coming back into the season, I want you to consider not making a radical shift in the other direction for 3 months out of your year. And we've talked about this, like, summer is 3 months, then fall, sugar season and the holidays is 3 months. Then we've got 3 months of winter. Then we've got spring. And it's like, we cannot afford to take not even 2 consecutive days off. If you want to take a day off from time to time and go buck wild, okay. But if you even try to link two of those days together, you're already setting yourself in a bad way. And I was thinking about the law of inertia. A body in rest wants to stay at rest, but one in motion wants to stay in motion. And that rolled into part of the kind of the show notes that we were talking about, which is like, we can't just all of a sudden make this big shift. It's like you take a boulder and you give it one little shove. That's not how things move. It's not how it works.
It's slow and steady and effort, like just constant, continuous effort.
Yeah,
it has to be. And like you say, the inertia, if you think about it, moving a boulder, and it takes so much to get it going. And we talk about this in chiropractic all the time. People are like, why do I have to come 3 times a week for a month or whatever it is, as an example? Well, because it takes a lot to get the boulder moving.
Yeah.
And then once you get it moving, it's like it moves a little bit easier and a little bit easier. Yeah. And that's when we get into wellness. But the stress that you have to endure to get that boulder moving, to get your health on track, to start exercising again, to go out and shop and come home and cook. And, we're getting back into, as we go into the fall, into back to school, where it's even busier than ever for your kids. And the stress that our kids are under today, in my opinion, is just ridiculous. And I know we've talked about this with sports and school and honor society and just everything that we put on our kids. And Dr. Eric and I always say the best time to get your kids under chiropractic care would be summertime, so that we can get that higher frequency, get the boulder moving, and then they can have momentum, have some inertia going when they get into school, when they start school again. But most people are just, like you say, take the foot off the gas in summertime. And now fall comes and suddenly their kids are stressed out again and wondering why they have digestive issues. They can't think very clearly. They're not sleeping very well. Their focus is off. It's not because you have ADD or ADHD. It's because of all of the input. And once you resolve that, if then and only then, you then have organic issues leading to ADD or ADHD, which I don't even really know what that is. But I understand it's a thing and people have trouble with focus, but it's too much input. And you don't have the bandwidth to manage the input. So figure that out first before we go medicating ourselves.
Right. And also the key to it all is make a plan. It's make a plan. Start with Sunday, making a plan for the week, making a plan for your food, making a plan for your workouts, making a plan on how you're going to succeed. I used to post in my favorite coffee shop almost every Sunday, and through the winter, I'll get back to that. But I definitely take an hour on Sunday and just look at my schedule ahead, look what's happening, and make a plan to win. And I just think about the other issue that's happening in the practices right now is that, these sports teams that pinch into the summer. So they start whatever the date is. I don't know if it's August 1st or when the fall teams are allowed to get together, but it's like they do punishment workouts. And I don't want to say punishment in the way that the coach is punishing. It's like, because you took the last 3 months off, now we need to do 2-a-days, or we need to go off into cross country camp, which is like, I had this patient, they were running 10 miles a day. So now, mind you, growth plate, teenagers, puberty, all the things that are going on through middle school and high school, they took them off to cross country camp. You make these kids run 5 to 10 miles a day for 5 days in a row. And guess what? They are injured for the rest of that season ahead. I have these football players in that they're growing like crazy. They're both freshmen. They're both 6'2" and 250. Like they're built like linebackers. I love that they're playing football. I don't love football in all the ways that the brain gets traumatized with the hits and stuff like that. But I have 2 of them in right now, back to twice a week, which is what it is to get them going. But it's also like this sedentary playing, whatever they're doing for the summer. I don't want to call it sedentary, but it's sedentary as opposed to the season. They're, doing what they're doing as boys, and you put them in a 2-a-days inside of the month of August that they're also stressed out about what's ahead with school and with what am I going to wear, and just all the things. And I'm like, they are injured to the point that they're like, this is what they say to me. If we go to the trainer, this is 2 different families, 2 different schools. If we go to the trainer, they're going to make them not play. And I'm like, because their bodies are already failing because they're asking too much too quickly and all of a sudden. And it's like, our bodies can't do it. Our brains aren't designed for it. Our teachers that have had the summer off, which is amazing, go back to like 150 miles an hour for 12-hour days. Like their days don't end. And we have to make a little bit more nervous system regulation inside of this. So take some of that summer vibes and bring it with your nervous system into 3 deep breaths on the every 10 minutes, 3 deep breaths at every stop sign on your way in. a glass of water between classes. I don't know. It's so overwhelming for all the humans involved. And in our practices, we feel this like, I don't know how to do this change. And it's really dramatic and it's really difficult on our health. And it's a wonder 2 to 3 weeks into September, guess what? Everyone's getting sick because they're stressed to the max.
Yeah, and these poor kids, they not only have the drive for themselves. I mean, they feel like they have to drive, and then they are driven by competition amongst their peers. They're driven by their parents putting the stress on them. Got to get that scholarship. You got to, you want to get into such and such school. And I remember that, like, we got to study, like, that's primary. You want to get into whatever school or whatever field you want to go into. There are definitely certain parameters. However, I feel like the bar has just been elevated so high that it's crazy. I had somebody tell me his daughter was waiting on 2 schools. One of them was U of M and another one was a smaller college in Michigan. I can't remember. And she really wanted to go to U of M, and they were waiting for all of their out-of-state to accept as many as they could from out of state because of the tuition. Mm-hmm. So they're pulling all of that in. And so then they finally were like, oh, okay. So in the 9th hour, now we have room for you. And she was like, you know what, to heck with U of M. I don't want to go there anymore. And she went to this other smaller school. But it's that daunting stress of that's where she wanted to go. And then they made her wait. And then she gets in only because they didn't get as many out-of-state tuition people as they needed to. Like, it's just crazy to me. And that's just like unnecessary stress on your brain and your nervous system. And I wish every college campus, like, we should put chiropractors on every college campus, in every student union. There should be a chiropractor there taking care of these kids every single day that they are there under that level of strain.
Well, and the other part too, so the PD these days, so the teachers are in doing professional development, and that now includes active shooter training.
Right.
And so you
put
the teachers, I know you put the teachers in, they're getting ready for the year, they're getting their classrooms back together. And I know Fenton had updates going on at every single one of the buildings. So they actually had to move, everybody had to move out, then they have to move all their stuff back in and all the things. And then they have to go and do this training, which includes the sounds, as though, you know what I mean? And then their nervous system is just on the fritz and on high alert. And so there's so many things that overwhelm the system, but it's also like, okay, it is time to double down on your health, especially if you've taken your foot off the gas. It's time to double down on your health, but it's also time to figure out how to get more balance, instead of like feeling like you're run right off a cliff into the school year. Like, yes, maybe get up a little bit earlier, but like, how can we bring the feelings of sitting in your backyard with all the time that you want? How can we bring that in as an anchor inside of the day-to-day? You know what I mean? Like, we talk a lot about this when we're talking about movement in the winter. Like, how can we bring the movement of the other seasons that make it easy and make a plan now? Make a plan now for success. Like, how can we work that out? So anyway, it's
and it has to be long-term for sure. I had 2 patients specifically ask me, and they're older, so not back to school, but it's the same concept. And, one was like, when will I graduate? And I think he's 76 or something, and he's got dementia and he's very concerned about it. But we've taken him from a place where he's able to golf and he's feeling better and he's not waking up as many days with back pain. But this, his brain is very concerning. And he's like, I can't remember the things that I used to. And it's, it's very bothersome to somebody, especially he wrote software for furniture companies. He said, oh yeah, I had over 200 furniture stores that they used my software. And so, you think of, like, he's got a brilliant mind and he's noticing these lapses. So from that neurology, that brain perspective, if when you put this level of stress on the brain, you put that level of inflammation, you're not eating as well as you should be. You are constantly on the go. You're constantly being chased by a tiger. And all of that is giving you inflammation in the brain and causing that dysregulation. And so making the time to get to a chiropractor, we also want you to be able to make sure you're managing those lifestyle pieces, but you have got to get to the chiropractor, because that dysregulation, when he asked me, when will I graduate? And I said, you're not graduating. He goes, I have to do this forever. And I said, yes, you do. And he's like, okay. And because then I said, if we stop, what happens to your brain? Like my goal right now is to make sure it doesn't get worse and hopefully start to make a shift for it to improve. And I said, we don't want this to get worse. So kids, though, they don't recognize the decline, but it's happening on a microscopic level. So let's not wait, let's regulate now while you're in the thick of things, in the thick of school, and maybe you can't do anything about that schedule, but let's help you regulate today so you don't have that decline later in life.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a mom that was in a couple of years back, and she had 4 kids, and it was the month of September. And she said, between the 4 kids, I have 96 practices and games in the month of September alone. And I get it, because there was a time in life where there needed to be a lot of things to keep kids on the right track, right? Where there needed to be sports going on there, but it shifted on a pendulum like too far, where it was like there wasn't that before, and now it ramped up to now like it's really excessive. And now, I kind of see the pendulum swinging the other direction, but that isn't a badge of honor to wear, because okay, there's 30 days in September, April, June, and November. So in 30 days, if you have 96, that's like 32. I'm sorry. What does that work out to be? 96 divided by 30 days. So 3.2 events per day. What? Where?
What is that? Where are we putting that?
Where are we doing this? And I'm sure that a lot of them were landing on like the same days. I don't know if that maths. It's 3.7, whatever it is, 3.3. But anyway, so wherever that's landing is like they're in school. First of all, I really don't think teenagers should be getting up at 5:30 in the morning in order to make a 7-11 bell. Now, I get we need to get them to school. We need to get things started, but 5:30 a.m. for anybody who's growing and developing. Middle school it was the first day of middle school yesterday. 5:30 a.m. for a 7-11 bell.
That's for the bus schedule. These times are not put in place for the kids.
They're not.
To accommodate a bus schedule.
It's not even
and I get it, but
it's just to get them there by 7-11, whether it's bus or whatever. And kids need rest. Holy crap. Mm-hmm. In order to grow and develop and be regulated, you have to have a proper amount of rest. So start there, then feed them. What are they eating? And then, okay, so they're 7-11 until whatever, 2:45. So 3.2 practices per day. They're probably at the same, time or whatever. Mom needs to go to multiple different places. Now we have an Uber mom, which is basically just running between things and no family regulation, no time to just be. And so although it's a badge of honor, it definitely was back in the day for sure. I remember when she told me it, but now it's like that is so detrimental to everybody involved. And then, we can't even begin to speak about if you're going to play a sport, you have to play off season, which doesn't give your body enough chance to change motions, change the postures of a sport. Now you're 365 days in the same sport. It doesn't give to change your spinal balance to do basketball to baseball or, soccer to swimming or something like that. And so it just creates a whole lot of imbalance, injury, stress, inflammation. And then, oh, now their body's inflamed. They're in a lot of pain. Their brain's inflamed and can't sit still. Oh, then let's put them on a medication. And then they have side effects from that medication. And then they have side effects from that medication. And now what are we doing? Yes, it's
And we
very
just keep
overwhelming.
stacking, keep stacking.
Rocks in the backpack, as we've talked about, rocks in the
Mhm.
backpack. So
Take them out. And Lily, 90 divided by 30 is just 3. But I think Dr. Erica said it was 32.
96.
96 divided by 30. Yeah, okay, there you go. All right. 92 divided by 30. There you go. Okay.
96 divided by 30 is the number I was looking for.
Okay. So that's 32. That's 32. Anyway, we're smart. We can do math.
Yeah.
It's 32.
3.2.
Oh, 3.2. Okay, got it. Yeah, rocks in the backpack. You just keep adding and adding. And I think too, when I work with these kids, when I work with these teenagers, I really do try to impress upon them that they are in a great position. They're at an age when it is time to take responsibility for their health. It is time to make decisions for themselves. It can't just be mom and dad constantly harping on you about what you're eating and what you're drinking. And that if you want to feel better, if you want to make sure you're the best possible athlete, you have good strength, you are sleeping well, you are thinking well, you've got to take responsibility for yourself. And I know this is falling on the ears of perhaps parents. I don't think there's too many teenagers listening, but parents, if you're listening to this, let your kids listen to this podcast because they have to take responsibility. And, most of the time when I get teens, even young teens, 12, 13 years old, they're like, okay. And they feel that ownership. Because if they don't have ownership in the decisions that they make, they won't adopt the healthy habits that you're trying to give them, or that you're trying to, bestow upon them and help them forever. So it's really important that our kids start to understand. I mean, I've had kids come to see me because they saw chiropractors on TikTok. And of course, in our field, there's a whole camp of chiropractors who are, they hate putting chiropractic on video, meaning they don't want to see chiropractic adjustments. And a lot of it is sensationalism. And I'm like, it's gross. Some of it's done very well. I've done adjusting videos, which is very tasteful and it's very gentle. And you actually see what a real adjustment is about. So if we can look at it from that perspective that, kids are watching. So what kind of information can we give them that'll show them you can actually feel a lot better than you are? Like they feel like shit. They just don't know how to really get past it.
Yeah. I actually have it's sort of starting to be like a trend where, and I don't mean trend in the social trend, but just like trending towards kids being really aware of how they feel when they leave the office. So they walking down the sidewalk, they're feeling good, but they're going to come get adjusted anyway. But then they're like putting 2 and 2 together that when I go there, I leave that place and I feel alive. I feel light. They wouldn't say these things, but they can tell. And so parents are coming in and telling me they have asked to come here. They've been asking to come here. We just haven't been able to fit it in the schedule, which is why my schedule is majorly expanding with the new doctor. They've been asking to see you for weeks now. They've been asking all summer, or they woke up this morning and said, I would like to go see the chiropractor today, even when they're just learning words. Like, I would like to go see, this one kid said, I'd like to go to the crack store today, Mom. Can we go to the crack store? And he's 4 now. He said this when he was around 3. He's like, I really want to go to the crack store, Mom. He's like, you wouldn't believe what he said. And then there's this one family that came in and they're like, the kids started singing the song, No More Monkeys Jumping on the Bed, or 5 little monkeys, and 1 fell off and broke his head. And Mama called the doctor, and Dr. Peabody said, so they're like, they sing it this way now. I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's awesome.
that's really awesome because they're like, we just want my favorite little tiny, I think she's probably 3.5. She has this gorgeous red curly hair. And she's obsessed with me. She never stops talking about me. And I feel like she's destined to be a chiropractor but she was in this morning. They actually brought me sunflowers. It was so sweet. But anyway, she's in begging to come here, begging. So
That's
I
awesome.
love that when I say trend, that's what I'm talking about. It's just like
Yeah.
kids are realizing how good they feel
Hmm.
after they leave here, after they get adjusted. I love it.
I have to say that in the summer, we like to think that getting these kids in the summer is the best time. But like a lot of my teen athletes, they they fall off in the summer because at least during the school year, there's a schedule that they can work around, and their summer schedule is even busier because their sports fills up all day every day, and there's no actual like scheduling of anything
Mhm.
because they're just eating, breathing, sleeping, whatever
Yep.
their sports thing is.
Yep.
And you guys, we can't operate like that. Like, imagine, imagine as an adult if you lived your your life like your kids lived, but it was just work. So
Mhm.
you get up in the morning at 5 a.m., you go to work, and then from work, you go to another job, and then you're not home until 10 o'clock at night. Then you have to like do some paperwork for your job. I mean, we as adults couldn't survive on that. Why are we expecting that same pattern for our kids? That's
Yeah.
not fair.
And right. And then eating the way that they're having to eat because they're not getting proper nutrition. And then that comes through the skin and acne and
Mhm.
allergies. And then, people will go and seek. And I really want to do an above, down, inside out um, podcast sometime where we're like, it's whatever's come, the inside's coming out. So it's above, down, but inside out. So if you're not nourishing properly, then you start to have whatever it is. And let's just talk acne for teenagers in particular. And then they go to get put on, I can't remember what the drugs are anymore,
Accutane,
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 which
which causes sterility.
changes DNA permanently
Hmm.
because of what's gone on. And so it's just is like such a vicious cycle. And it's difficult to watch. I'm so glad that people are asking us about health. They're actually, I think at our state level, or maybe even the federal level, but I think at the state level, they're going to allow chiropractors to actually do the physicals because we actually do a physical, like a sports physical.
Hmm.
Like we would be way more qualified than somebody who's just dealing drugs anyway. I was just thinking about that the other day, and it was like, yeah, we are the ones more qualified to do all of that than anybody else because of structural and functional and what we're working with. So anyway, just yeah, it's all the back to school stuff. I'm just thinking about all of that.
Well, and with that, those prescription drugs, and Accutane is one of the absolute worst. But just going back to what we always say with regards to not just the prescription drugs, but then you walk into a store and you're like, oh, this must be safe because I can just walk up to the shelf and pull it off the shelf and I can go buy it. And I have a patient who was in this morning and he's got stage 4 kidney failure. And he goes, yeah, because I didn't know. I didn't know that I shouldn't take Tylenol every day because it's on the shelf and he can just walk in and he can just buy it every day.
I know, but
And
then once it's gone so far, you can't recover those organs.
right, I
You
know,
can't
I know,
recover the
no,
organs.
no. And we're doing this to our kids. So the kids go on Accutane, the kids go on allergy medication, the kids are on inhalers, the kids are on not Ritalin. What's the one that they sell on the streets now?
Adderall.
Adderall. They're on
They're
antidepressants.
vaping.
They're vaping. I mean, it's like the chemicals that are going into our children is just disgusting.
Uh-huh.
And as parents, we have to want, obviously, if your kid's going to vape, they're going to hide it from you, but you can help control all the other things. You don't have to run to medication. every time your kid gets a sniffle, or because they're like, and I will say, if your child wears a smartwatch and you're claiming they're ADD or ADHD, or if you do, please just stop wearing it. Take it off and throw it in the garbage. Those things are absolutely destroying your mental bandwidth.
Yeah.
In my humble opinion.
Yeah. No, it really is true. We don't need one more thing. We really don't need one more thing. I mean, we have our phones and that's plenty. We don't need to be literally wearing a messaging device unless if you have a specific health condition, I suppose. But aside from that, we shouldn't be wearing a constant alert. And yeah, it's just really wild. So all that to say, the level of overwhelm, the level of frenzy, the level of dysregulation, the level of chemical stresses, all the things is just it's over the top. So we are simply asking you to consider going back to the natural laws of the body, which help us to get well and stay well, which is eat well, move your body, drink your water, get your rest, keep a positive mental attitude, and find yourself a chiropractor. If you guys listening to us were able to just find even once a month, that's that's like a little bit less than bare minimum, but bare minimum, we'll just call it that.
It's better than zero.
Yeah, it's just it's better if you can help your system be able to work with all of the things, all the rocks in the backpack, and also go lay in the grass, go hug a tree, find a little nature bath somewhere. Like isn't it nature bathing where you just like
unplug? Yeah, it's like don't put it. Go sit outside without AirPods, without your phone. Listen to the sounds of nature. Take a walk without AirPods. You don't need to listen to a podcast or music when you walk out in nature. Yeah. Listen to nature. That's your music. That's your natural music. I love that.
So yeah,
I think as we close this up, I do want to say though, Erica, Dr. Erica, you forgot 3 major things that improve lifestyle.
We have 9 now. 9.
Oh, we're at tonight.
Okay, eat well, move well, think well, drink your water, get your rest, get adjusted, like, subscribe, share. 9.
Done. Woo!
You got it. Best health ever. Those 9 things.
Best health ever. Okay, find yourself a chiropractor. And
let us know if we
when
can
you
help.
come to see us, I know it's always great when people come to see us and they're like, I never knew that. Kind of like what we're getting in the comments. I never knew that. Who knew? We are full of it. Okay. So just so you know, we're full of all of it.
It's really surprising. You're probably hearing this too. There are people that come in and we have no idea they're even listening or watching. So please share with us if you're out there listening or watching, because we really do want to know. And then also like, subscribe and share.
Perfect.
We need to create a jingle. I'll play my new guitar. I don't play the guitar. I'm playing. Let's do like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share.
That's good. We were both going in the right direction.
Like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share.
Oh, okay. I'm going to create a jingle for us.
We should probably go now.
Okay. Before we go completely off the rails. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please make sure you like, subscribe, share, leave a nice comment for us, and we will see you on the next one.